Hey, Mihai. Now I'm talking about through the Zoom.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Let me try if I can share my screen.
We have Johan.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Then stop share.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, Johan.
Swami will not join. He wrote me on Slack, and maybe just Alberto is missing, and whoever will join from SoulStack.
Okay, let me ping Alberto just in case.
Do you know if Zoom is automatically recording?
I see the recording bubble. So
Okay.
maybe yeah, all these meetings that are set to be recorded.
Okay.
But when I click it, or it's just that only the host has the permission to do recording.
Okay.
But you see on the upper left side of the window, there is this red bubble.
Ah, yeah, it's already recording. Yeah, you're right.
And we have Thomas. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Thomas. Hi.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
Hey, Kavya. Hello.
Hi, this is
Hi.
Kavya.
Hi.
I was going to say, is it looking at the participants? Okay, we're starting to get outside of just SUSE people. I was just going to mention to the SUSE folks that I'm going to be out of town the next 2 weeks. And so I'm not going to be able to make our call on the 26th.
Okay.
Just figured you're right here. I might as well say something just in case I forget to send that email out.
Okay.
So thanks. All right. Sorry, Kavya.
No, that makes sense. I think those are good things to discuss.
But also next Friday, so the 12th?
I'm good this Friday.
All right.
I'm not sure if Alberto is going to join, but Swami wrote me on Slack that he will not be able to join today. So we will sync with him later on Slack, or he will watch the recording.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay,
So
let's check
maybe
the appointment just to see all the people who should attend. So attendees to the testing working group I have on the calendar appointment is Mihai, Pablo, Thomas, Frod, Pedro, Johannes, Kavya, Swami, Alberto, and Mo. We don't have anyone else.
So all the SolStack folks, Mo, Pedro, and Froda, they are in, so what we are having is this entire week, all the remote team members, they've come down to the headquarters and we are doing a 1 week like testing. In fact, it's called testing resolution week. So these
Right.
things are moving fast and we're deep diving into a lot of the
Mhm.
issues that we have. So I can ping and check with them if they have time to join. I think Froda might be able to. Yeah, let me ping and check with them. If not,
Yeah, but just to let you know, I mean, we can already start. I don't think we will need like
yeah,
more Solstack people, only if they are interested to see what we are doing. So of course, the meeting is open for everybody, but if they have something better to do, they don't have to be here.
yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and I think, I mean, I can give you guys an update on where we're at with some of the changes that we're going to be proposing from a testing perspective,
Mhm.
and from just a general release and development perspective to try and streamline some things, and then I'll be able to take what we get here, and I'll go back to the rest of the team and report.
Okay. So then are we good to go for now? Well, Pablo, I see he already pasted the link to the Trello board that we have. We have not yet migrated to the GitHub issues, but we will do that. I was on vacation for a while, and now I'm back. I will try to take care of the stuff that are pending for now. Okay, so that's our Trello board. In the last meeting, we created some cards for the goals of the testing and release group, and participants also voted on those goals. And now, basically, together with Pablo, we made this. We sorted the goals in the goals column. And that's the top we have. We have this, we call it waterline. So I think.
Mihai, do you want to share the screen so that the recording that we are doing
Okay, that's better.
captures that?
Yeah, let me do that. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. So this is the board. Now you can see that we've sorted the goals there according to the voting that took place last time. It makes sense if we are looking at these, the most important, well, they are very close together, but the release process is as important as improving the test suite reliability and improving the speed and the performance of the test suite. So we already have that like in the title of the working group. So it makes sense. The goals are aligned with the scope of the group. We have two additional goals here, which are, I would say, even though they are like on the same level from the voting point of view, with the others are still secondary. So this merging Salt Toaster with the upstream test suite, it's something that maybe Salt Toaster, for those that do not know, is a tool that we use at SUSE to test salt before we release it. So this is something that the SUSE guys would discuss with think about merging that. So that's still like, I would say it's secondary. And then improving the testing on OpenSUSE, I would say it's more important for us, and Pablo already took some steps here. He will present later what he did. And depending on the feedback, we will decide if we still want to do more things here or not. So then we are left with three goals, those that I've mentioned at the beginning, the documenting, sorry. So documenting the release process and see if we can improve that. Together with Pablo, we defined some checklists. They are pretty generic, but they serve as a starting point for already see what we would like to do for example, in this epic. So first, of course, we would have to learn what's the current process, document that, or like improve the documentation of the release process. Maybe this is already there, so I right now I don't know what we already have. So yeah, I'm probably wrong. Maybe the documentation is already very good. So let's see. Then one check list item could be to identify if there are any pain points in the release process. Then, if that's the case, research on how to improve those parts. And I think the outcome would be to create a proposal for improving that. And maybe if something needs to be implemented, then yeah, like from implementing, I mean writing code to automate something, then that could also be a task. Sorry for the noise. Right, so I hope this is clear. If you have any questions regarding this, please
Yeah, let
ask.
me, if it's all right, let me come back with where we're at on our side here. So Kavya mentioned that we had flown all of our, the entire open SALT team that we employ here at SaltStack into the office this week, mostly because we had some pretty serious test issues in the Neon and Develop branches. And our conclusion as we came together was that we do feel like we need to fundamentally change what the current release process is, because while it is documented, I couldn't blame you for not feeling as though it's still very understandable. In looking over it, we've got a release process that has evolved organically over the years out of some techniques that I think made a lot of sense when we were a really small project. But that we really need to sit down and gut what we're doing and rethink the entire approach. And so we're in the process right now of creating a new proposal which changes how we are managing branches in Git, how we are promoting builds through a pipeline, and we've also made a number of changes to the test suite. So going back into Salt Toaster is driven through PyTest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's right.
Because you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And so we do have the PRs that are going in right now to finally move us away from the old run test system that was built back in early 2012 over to PyTest. And so that's always been the first step for us, working more closely with Toaster. And our PyTest changes have also allowed us to create parallel execution of the test suite. For some operating systems, we've got it down to, I think perhaps even less than 20 minutes, although it's a little early to put a flag in the sand. But parallelization of the test suite is one of the things that we've done just in the last couple of days. And so we're really excited to be able to share what we've got. And I definitely think that Salt Toaster can help us significantly there, because, I mean, we're looking at it and our stack is still heavily utilizing virtual machines, and it would significantly speed things up again to go with Toaster. So when we come back to the release process, the current release process is not good, which is one of the reasons why we wanted a working group to begin with. And again, to be honest, I'm surprised that we've internally taken the level of steps that we have just in the last few days to put together these proposals. But so we will have an SEP out pretty soon. And I'm going to go back to the team and make sure that all of our notes get shared with this working group later today, so that you guys will have them in the morning. Now, when we look at the current release process, we've got merged forwards between branches, which we've generally come to the conclusion is bad. So we're looking at a brand new branching strategy. We're also looking at a brand new progressive testing pipeline strategy, so that we will be able to hopefully effectively release whenever we want to speed up that process, so that our release process isn't that we develop for a month and a half and then spend 3 months fixing all of the tests. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, make sure you share anything you have with us. Like if you have some proposal, it would be great if we could see it before we start doing anything there, because maybe we would try to reinvent what you already found solutions for.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we definitely want to get on the same page with you guys. You guys know what you're doing. And I mean, again, if I'd known that our discussions were going to take the direction that they did, then we would have. I mean, we would have invited this working group in. But of course, once those discussions were taking that direction, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. And
No problem.
That's not a good time for us.
the last couple of days.
Just a quick question in between. I don't know if you can answer that yet, but does that mean that you will have a branch that is basically always in a good enough shape so that it could potentially be released?
Yes, that is definitely the goal.
Okay, that really sounds good.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, the goal would be. And again, there's a fair amount of refinement, of course, still needed to this. But the goal would be that we would still have our release branches, and that those release branches should always be ready for a new point release. And then that the develop branch would not necessarily always be ready for a release, but we would always have an artifact from the develop branch that was not very old that would be ready for a release. I mean, we still need to have a certain level of, hey, you know, we need to occasionally be able to break the develop branch, but the pipeline that we want to put in place allows us to be able to have artifacts that are being promoted that are stable, so that if we do break the develop branch, then hopefully it only stays broken for a day or two as we iron out an issue, and then we get a new artifact, right, to promote. But again, yeah, we'll outline our initial proposal in a lot more detail there than me trying to remember everything off the cuff. There's of course a significant amount of nuance and making sure that everything would roll smoothly.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so then I would say that we could leave this card aside for the time being until we find out more about the proposal and how we can create actionable cards from this, basically to see how we can help with that, right?
Oh yeah, and I should say I'm really excited to show you the conclusions that we've made so far and get your feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't emphasize enough that I don't want to just blanketly say we're going to do it a certain way. I'm always looking for your feedback.
Sure, we will try to give our feedback, of course.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks. So then let's leave this for now and move to the second one. So basically the goal of this meeting, as discussed with Pablo, we were trying to, now that we have the goals, we were trying to see who's interested in what and try to assign people to these goals. Yeah, if someone already knows that is interested in the release process, you can already assign yourselves to the card. Otherwise, I will just move to the next one. So the next one in our top is the improved test suite results reliability. We have created a checklist again with a few items here. First would be to, of course, identify if there are unstable tests. Then if there are, we should look at them and try to see why they are unstable, and then of course try to create PRs for those tests to fix those tests. I think once we identify the unstable tests, then we can create a list of those tests, and they can be worked in parallel, so multiple people can tackle different tests here if they are not related. So if they are different, have different problems, then this can be parallelized. Yeah, basically that's the card.
So on this topic, just last week I was diving into aspects of the test suite, and we found that there are quite a few areas where we see instability in the test suite. One of them that I want to point out, I'm looking for the PR and I'm not finding it, of course.
No problem. If you find it later, you can comment here.
Honestly, if I could just show you the PR, it would you'd probably go, oh, well, yes, obviously.
Okay.
But one of the areas has to do with how we are running commands inside the test suite. And I mentioned this in office hours. So any help around that PR, because what we're looking at is that whenever we check a function itself, we're running it through a client, through a master, to a minion. The minion forks executes the function and returns. And while testing that pipeline is very important, we don't need to do it 5,000 times, right? During a test. And so we've been working to change that function so that it just directly calls the underlying function. And we've seen significant performance improvements, as well as the resolution of many flaky tests inside of that PR. But subsequently, there are a number of tests that kind of expect it to be run over the remote bus this way. And so one of the opportunities that we have to continue to fix these is to just go in, and we'll be able to fix those tests that expect it to run over the bus, but it's not necessary to run it over the bus, if you get my meaning. And so that's definitely one of the areas for test instability. Another area that we've discovered has to do with memory usage. And we found that if we partition the tests, that takes care of it, but we would still like to do some more introspection into the memory usage of tests. Subsequently, we're going to be setting up, so we're in the process of setting up monitoring and profiling on the test suite, so that it'll be a lot easier for everybody to be able to look and say, look, here's a test that's taking a half hour. Obviously, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, we covered that in the other card regarding the performance improvement. One of the items there was also to use some kind of profiling to see what are the most expensive tests, and then investigate why they are taking so long and how to improve that. But we are covering that in this one, in the performance. Yeah, here.
Okay.
So basically, we've split this one into two topics. One is speed improvements, try to use a profiler, see what we get, what's the output. And then yeah, try to fix that. But then in the parallelization part, we were thinking to maybe, sorry, I'm losing my voice sometimes. I've been sick, so sorry for that. I have to mute myself, otherwise you would hear my coughing. So parallelization, we are thinking to identify some maybe relevant groups of tests that somehow maybe optimize the resources. I don't know if this makes any sense, but for example, if there's a group of tests using some resources that can be recycled or something reused, maybe it makes sense to group them together. And the idea was to then use maybe PyTest or something similar to split the test suite and run those groups in parallel, even maybe as different jobs in the CI or as part of some pipeline or something like that. But yeah, something in that direction.
Fantastic.
So it seems that to go back to the other one with the reliability, it seems that you already have some progress here. Is this documented somewhere? It would help if we would get some links to some proposals or where the research took place, so that we can see where's the starting point for us.
Yeah, I'm taking notes here as to all of. Yeah, good. I'm not muted. I'm taking some notes here as to all of the different aspects of what we're doing that I need to make sure gets reported back up to you.
Okay. Thanks. So from the point of view of this car, I think it's done. Let's move to the other one, to the performance, which I already explained already. Yeah. Is there any progress here? Like, have you looked into using a profiler or anything of the topics we described here?
Yeah. So what we're looking at is adding logging and profiling directly to the standard test runs, and then having that information go back up into an Elasticsearch system that we set up internally just a few days ago for this purpose, and then being able to subsequently publish those performance and profiling results.
Oh, sounds good. Is there anything we can help with here, or?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, really, what it boils down to is we've got not only a number of really slow tests where the problems are obvious. We also have seen a significant performance drop between the fluorine and neon branches, and so again, I'll go back and let's see. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm writing all this down. I'll go back and make sure that we can get the profile information to you guys.
Okay, so profiling is something that you will take care of, and then will you also investigate to see, like, or how will we proceed from there? We would split that. I mean, let's say we get a list of 10 slow tests. Then how would you like to proceed? Would you pass some of the investigation of those tests to us, for the working group, or?
Definitely.
Okay.
So I think that the best thing for us to do will be to give you this information and then tell you which pieces we have already begun investigation on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot easier for your team to come back and say, yeah, we'll we'll take these others. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, I think maybe it would make sense to create issues from the, well, I was thinking to look at the output of the profiler and then create issues for each of those problems that the profiler would indicate. And so that we can then assign ourselves to them so that we don't work on the same thing at the same
Perfect.
time. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and then regarding this parallelization, do you have anything to say about that, or what do you think?
Okay, so part of the PyTest changes that we put in introduces the ability to make parallelization very malleable. So I posted the faster tests PR that Wayne Werner is currently working on. I posted a link to that in the chat. And let me see if I can dig up the PyTest in parallel parallelization PR, so that yeah, it would probably just better describe itself and be a good good place to look into this more directly inside of that PR.
Is it okay if I put this link for the faster tests directly in this?
Oh, please, please.
Yeah, okay.
Of course. Yeah, basically, I shouldn't say any, but almost any test where at this point, when we call that run function, if we're saying rem equals true to say send it through the remote bus, almost any test that we're still sending through the remote bus should be refinable and therefore kind of an obvious speed up and reliability improvement.
Okay. So obviously you already made some progress in all of the topics that we have here. So I think it makes sense to maybe wait until we find out more about those. And then figure out how we can help. So I guess we can leave this for now. I would say let's move to the improve testing on now. Pablo, where did you make progress in? Is it? I mean, you made some progress, which is basically covering both of these, but.
Yeah, I think let's look at the third card, make Salt Toaster. I'm not sure if I wrote something there. Make Salt Toaster publicly available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just to explain this a bit, we showed you in the past or did some demos about the Salt Toaster that we are using here at SUSE for running the SaltStack unit and integration test, and also our current SUSE test suite, where we spin up masters with one version, then minions with different version, and we do more complex tests, integration test there. And the only problem that we had is that the Salt Toaster at that time was only usable for people inside our SUSE R&D network. So in the past weeks, we had a hack week here at SUSE. And one of the projects I was working on was to put the toaster in a shape that is usable or can be used for people outside SUSE. And also improve the documentation for newcomers. So, and that was already merged. So let me share my screen now for a moment. And Mihai, maybe I can show you now the state of the toaster. I think I can click. Oh no, you need to unshare your screen, I think.
Okay, I will stop sharing and then you can.
Okay. Okay, I hope you can see mine now. So yeah, as you know, this is under OpenSUSE Salt Toaster, and what we did was to just improve a bit the documentation and push some, because now before these changes, we were using an internal Docker registry for storing the toaster images, and now we basically publish some
Can anybody still hear me?
Yes, Johan, I can hear you. I hope you hear me as well.
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you again.
Okay. Okay, maybe Pablo has some problems. He'll join, I guess. I hope.
In the meanwhile that Pablo joins, I had something which I wanted to talk about, or can I take like a couple of minutes?
Sure, yeah.
You must be aware that SaltConf, it's scheduled on 18th and 19th, which is a Monday and Tuesday, November 18th and 19th. So I wanted to let all the testing working group members know about the dates, and we have almost a different track planned for the working groups. I mean, traditionally we've had like a training track and a breakout session track, and folks who've been interested in one or the other have taken part in that. And we're almost trying to create like a third track, which is like the working group related items. For instance, I mean, we are inviting we would invite the working group members to put up a talk, like series of, talks based on their goals, what they have achieved so far in the current term of the working group and their plans for the future, etc. And especially the testing working group, just because this is one of the unique working groups wherein SUSE and SALT has partnered as well. So this might be a unique opportunity for you folks to fly here and then present some of your ideas and as well. Apart from that, this is also we are creating some other programs such as custom the sort of like advisory board wherein working group members would meet the SALT engineering, and you can almost think of it as you're helping create like the future working groups, giving feedback about what currently went well and then what can be done better for the future working groups. That's another item that we've planned. And the third one is a lot of unconference type of events wherein it's not just the members of the testing working group, but then would open it up for the other SALT conference attendees, and then everyone kind of hunkers down and then talks more about the testing and get some things accomplished. So what do you guys think about these initiatives at the first hearing? That does sound exciting. And also, what are your plans for the SaltConf?
Sure, of course, that sounds very good actually. But regarding attending the conference, I think I will talk to Pablo, and I cannot give you right now an answer. But
Sure.
so we'll talk, and of course we'll try to come.
Okay.
Because it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, the problem is always to get the permission to come. Yeah, but if presentations are involved, then because that's basically our rule. We can go to conferences if we are presenting. So if you're saying this is our opportunity to give presentations there, it's easier to get the permission to come.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So what I'll do is we have a link, I mean, basically a link that speakers can submit their proposals. And I'll send you those links and I can follow once you submit your proposal, talk proposal, I can follow that up and make sure we have you guys. Yeah, I'll do that from my side.
So
Sounds
did you
good.
say 18th and 19th of
November?
Yes.
November? All right, but I think is Pablo back? No, he isn't back. So
No, he's not back, but maybe he has bigger issues.
yeah, maybe a huge wave came and all of the Canary Islands.
It's gone. Yeah. Maybe I'll try to share my screen again. I know I was not prepared to do this, but let me find he registered a video of what he did. So maybe I can show that, and if there's anything else he can present next time, or let me try to do that to find it. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Ah, Pablo is back. Or can you hear us, Pablo?
Okay, I'm here. Sorry, I'm not sure what
Okay.
happened. I'm not sure where the screen crashes.
At the beginning.
Okay, nice. So, so I didn't actually. Didn't hear or see the demo actually?
No. So you're starting to tell us about it, and then it crashed, and we could not hear you anymore. I was
Okay,
about
nice.
to show the video you recorded, but maybe you can do it yourself
Let's
now.
try it again, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. So this is what I was telling that this is something that we owe you. So as you know, the toaster was some tool that we developed and we were using it heavily at SUSE, but the only problem we had was that it was only useful or it will require access to the SUSE RD network. So you were not able actually to play with it. So in the past weeks, we had the Hack Week here at SUSE, and one of the project I was working was actually to make the toaster
Pablo?
Did we lose him again?
Yeah, seems like.
You know, Salt Toaster's brilliant, and just
Okay, so I'm not sure what happened with the screen sharing. It's definitely not working for me. So I will just tell you a few things without sharing my screen, and maybe Mihai can run the demo there. So again, so this is something we owe you for some time because we were only, so the toaster was only useful for people inside SUSE, not for you outside the SUSE R&D network. And one of the projects during the last Hack Week at SUSE that I was working on was actually to bring the toaster in a state that can be useful and can be used for people outside SUSE and also for newcomers that want to just start testing Salt. So we basically created now some container images that are publicly available in Docker Hub for OpenSUSE 42.3, OpenSUSE 50.0, 50.1, Tumbleweed, CentOS, Ubuntu. And this will allow to easily test SaltStack or running the SaltStack unit test and SaltStack integration test outside SUSE using the Docker containers and using the PyTest. So Mihai, maybe you can share your screen and go to the SaltTest repo.
Yes. You mean to the video you recorded or to the README?
Well, the README first, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so we basically put the documentation in a better way. It was pretty long. So hopefully now it's easier for people that want to start testing Salt. We have there the list of public targets that are available for everybody. And we also created a recording and console recording that maybe Mihai can just play. It's just 2 minutes of recording.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Let's see if you crash too.
Okay, I'll try to play it now.
Yeah, so it's really easy to start using it. You just need to create a virtual env called Sandbox. Maybe Mihai, you can pull it full screen. So the fonts are, well, not improving a lot, but yeah, okay. So you created Sandbox, you activate and then install the requirements. And then you are able to run the toaster. So first thing is running the help, which show you different commands that you can use. Then we have this new list target command, which show you the targets, so OSs that are available, public OSs, so for public use and also for us in the internal. And then you can run the SaltStack unit test suite, pointing to this Salt repo, which is your custom branch, your local branch that you want to test. And in this particular run, I want to specify only a subset of tests, which is this test Kubernetes, the unit test. And then you run it, the container is created, and then we execute PyTest inside the container, which runs this Kubernetes test. And then the container is closed. Then, for example, we can run the SaltStack, the full SaltStack integration test suite in CentOS 7. Again, we point to this particular branch that we have to check out locally. And yeah, collecting the test, and it will run the integration test inside this CentOS 7 container. There are also other parameters that are in documentation that allows you, for example, also to run these tests that are marked as expensive tests or this destructive test. So yeah, for someone that wants to start testing and maybe run destructive test, is really easier. Just create the sandbox, the virtual env, and then with that simple command, you can run the whatever SaltStack integration, SaltStack unit test, and also this custom SUSE test, which allows you to design more complex tests where you spin up multiple containers. Maybe one is a CentOS container for the master, although it's a Minion one, which is OpenSUSE, and then you have also Minion 2, and your test is doing stuff between those. So this is an example of running that test suite, SUSE test. Again, you pass the Salt repo, and I'm running again a subset of the whole test suite, this test Minion, and this will create the different containers according to this test definition, and it will run the test again, the PyTest. So hopefully now that this is usable for you, you can start using it and running those containers with those images. Yeah, will be nice to you take a look and also report any issue that you found there, if any, and of course also ways to improve it if needed. So yeah, that was. So then if we go back, Mihai, please, to the Trello board. On this card that we had about merging the Salt Toaster with Upstream, one of the, so yeah, we have now the Salt Toaster, which is publicly available. It will be maybe something to discuss if after you start or give a try to the toaster on your side, maybe will be nice if we could, or you could maybe run also the test in your CI by some jobs that are using the toaster, just to see how it goes, how is it going. Yeah, and see if we can somehow work together on this, on improving the toaster. And but at least you can now use it, and hopefully it will be also helpful for your teams. Sorry for the crashing multiple times.
No problem. Thank you very much for the progress here, Pablo. It's
Thank you.
great.
You're welcome.
Looks very good.
Speaking of containers, I've heard rumors that Slash might, if it is not already, might soon be available basically as a base container image, like Red Hat is doing it right now. So running tests on top of Slash more conveniently for container environments will get easier.
Definitely, yeah. So we need to take care of this, and in case that this is already available, publicly available, then we should also set the toaster to use those public images of SLS, and then make a SLE also available as a public target to test Salt. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, sounds good. And actually, what you did is also covering parts of this card, which was the enable Salt toaster to run with OpenSUSE images, right?
Yeah, true. So and as I was saying, maybe next step on SaltStack side after they take a look is to see if it's feasible to also use the toaster on their side to maybe run the OpenSUSE or the test in OpenSUSE, which is something that you are not doing. If I'm not wrong, you are not running the test on OpenSUSE at the moment, right? Just for CentOS, Debian, Ubuntu, and so on, but no, at OpenSUSE as far as I know.
Yeah, we've kind of been relying on you guys for that. But yeah, we definitely need to get that in our pipelines.
Yeah, so what Pablo is trying to say is, I mean, he said it actually, but to add to what Pablo said, our problem is that, I mean, it would be much better for us if, for example, when you release a new version, we would have, we would already know that it passed the test on OpenSUSE. Otherwise, when you release a new version, we have to take that version and only then run our tests on top of that. And sometimes it's pretty late. So it would be much better if we would know about problems even from before releasing that version.
So I think, I mean, one, yes, we should definitely start testing on OpenSUSE. Two, hopefully the new environments paradigm that we're working on would allow you to also be able to run any additional internal tests that you would want to on our release plausible artifacts.
So one quick confirmation I'd want to give is we have been running tests on OpenSUSE 15, Python 2, Python 3, but might not be all the version. And yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe we were not aware of that. Maybe we didn't see it. So you're saying that you are already running tests on SLE 15, both on Python 2 and Python 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we do is we also run the tests on based on the release branches. So next, currently we're working on the 2019-21 release, which is like the minor release for our previous like Florin release. And we are testing 15, Python 2 and Python 3 on that. And on Neon, which is our next upcoming major release, we will be moving, we'll stop testing on Python 2. So then it'll mostly be Python 3 testing.
Mm-hmm. It sounds good. I guess we were not aware of that, because I mean, we don't ask you to run on all the OpenSUSE and SUSE versions. Of course, that's not possible. But if you are already running on SLE 15, I guess it's pretty good for us, right, Pablo?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is if this is running on the release branch directly, but not, for example, on the PRs, right? That maybe is what gets or creates the confusion on us, because we don't see the OpenSUSE in the, when you create a PR, all the bunch of tests there is no OpenSUSE there. So maybe that PR is breaking something on OpenSUSE side and we don't really realize. But yeah, so if you have that already, then it's great. Fantastic.
Yeah, that makes sense. And let me see from the PRs, because we are changing, as and when we are discussing few things from the resolution week that the team is kind of undergoing. There are few things we are changing on how we are testing for the release branch as well. I mean, Tom mentioned a lot of that earlier in the call. So I think based on that, this is something which I can put in front of the team about if we are doing testing from the OpenSUSE side for the PR, and would it make sense to include, and which versions. I can bring that item in front of the team.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So I guess we are pretty good on this aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see probably this will be an easy one, so we will close it soon. So basically we've covered now all the like the goals that I think we will only focus on these. There are two others, but I don't think we will have time to cover so many topics. Of course, if someone really wants to work on that, they are free to work on the other two. But as the working group, I think we will only focus on these that are above this waterline. I think I will try to talk to you, because we don't have that much time. I will try to talk to you on Slack and see where where the members are interested in, and then try to assign them to the goals here. And then next step would be to also move these cards to the GitHub community repository, and probably I will also try to create cards from these epics. But I think for some of them we have to wait for you to publish your progress, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, Tom and I will take the action item on ourselves to kind of update you guys about what the progress made this week. So maybe by next Monday or so, we'll send an update, or basically the early part of next week, we'll send an update.
Great, that's perfect. So then I would say we know what are the next steps for now, and if there is nothing else to add from anyone, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I think we are good. So next step is assign people to the cars to start working on these actionable items, and also wait for the feedback from Solstack on this new work that they have been doing. So yeah, perfect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you as well. So let's keep in touch in Slack.
Yep, and as always, it's fantastic working with you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Ciao.
Bye.
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 Bye.